WagerTalk one-day power pass, you receive every play from every betting consultant for one full day at the ridiculously discounted price of just $149. What's better than spending the day watching and following a great slate of games? Watching, following, and winning those games. Get every WagerTalk expert and every game they release for that day.
Let's see, what is today? I don't even know. Thursday, I believe it is. It is time for the college basketball tip-off show powered by WagerTalk.com. The season has begun, a couple of days into it. Light card here tonight, but there are a couple of games that we're going to break down for you coming up, and we are going to welcome in three of the absolute finest. Doesn't get any better than this. Ralph Michaels hanging out up top. Steve Merrill right in the middle of the order. And, of course, Dave Koken hitting cleanup here as a college basketball Thursday is upon us. And, Ralph, I wanted to get your thoughts here on first, it's early, obviously, but any takeaways from what you've seen thus far over the last 3 days?
Yeah, Joe, you, Dave, and I talked on Tuesday saying, you have to look at that home court edge. People are playing in front of, full houses for the first time in 2 years. But the first couple days in college hoops, dogs have covered 56.4% of the time. And listen to this number. Dogs of 15 or more have gone 24-9 ATS, 73% to start off the season. That does not include the extra games. That's just part of the regular board. But 74% for those dogs of 2 touchdowns plus.
Yeah, we also have not, we didn't see nothing as far as, Steve, the major upsets. We usually see those at least once or at least a couple at this point. Outside of Ohio State, maybe Rutgers last night. Nothing earth-shattering, shall we say, with some of these top 10, top 15 programs. What have you noticed?
No, and of course, it's just random variance a lot of times. When you have 100-plus games in a couple of nights, you're going to have one or two double-digit dogs lose, or a couple upsets happen. You have to tread lightly because keep in mind, these are still a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds that have never played together before for maybe less than a month on the entire roster. And then, of course, as Ralph said, we have the home court dynamic coming back. And I've always said that home court value in college basketball is more powerful than any other sport. It can vary from anywhere from 1 to 5 to 6 points in my power ratings. You get like a Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke in their heyday could have been 5 or 6 points. You get a bottom feeder with nobody in the stands. It could almost be -1 sometimes. So you really do have to figure in that home court advantage. It's something we didn't have last year. And then, of course, we had all the disruptions last year in which teams missed multiple games multiple times with shutdowns. This is a different college basketball season, so always tread lightly, but there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah, no, there certainly is there. And Dave, congratulations. It was a big night for you last night. Congratulations there on the card. And what have you taken away over these last couple of days here at College Hoops?
Nothing much. They're just games. That's about it. I'm really not using power ratings this year. I think they're a waste of time in college basketball. I'm playing more situational stuff, and a little change to the way I'm releasing plays this year. At WagerTalk, if you're an all-access customer, you get all the plays, obviously. But I'm only selling the best bets, which are 4% or higher. So they're 2-0 so far. Anything less than that, 2%, 3% plays, they're going to be free. So you just follow me on Twitter at Dave Koken, and I will alert you as to when they're available on my WagerTalk homepage, or you can just check the WagerTalk homepage. If you check today, you'll find nothing because I did not come up with a play in college basketball tonight. I'm still as low volume as I've ever been, maybe even more so. But I'm real happy with the start of the season, and I'm very optimistic it's going to be a big year.
All right, absolutely. Guys, make sure you head over to WagerTalk.com. Best bets up, locked, and loaded here. Dave Koken's already got a 5% best bet included in college football. And, of course, we've got that coming up in just about an hour. Steve Merrill ready to go here, killing it in the NBA. And, of course, Ralph Michaels ready to go. College football and college basketball is upon us. And let's start here with one of these games coming up a little bit later today. We're going to look at Northern Iowa taking on Vermont in this one, Ralph. Northern Iowa opens up as a 3-point favorite, total of 135.5. Tell me what you think about this matchup here.
Well, I mean, the shocking thing is the loss to Nicholls State. Yeah, Nicholls State was picked to win the Southland, but you're at home in an opener and you lose 62-58. That was enough to keep me off this game. Everything else points to Northern Iowa to me. You have 5 returning starters. You add in the conference player of the year from last year, Green, who only played the first 3 games and was hurt the rest of the year. Maybe their second best player, Simmons, only played the first 3 or 4 games, missed the year. You basically have 17 returning starters. Why did they lose to Nicholls State? Green missed his first 13 shots, and they were 3 of 30 from three-point land, so shooting 13%. Should they bounce back? Absolutely. This is a Vermont team that is accustomed to winning, 5 straight seasons of winning their division, conference player of the year on their team, but going on the road and playing this environment, I am on Northern Iowa. I was close to using them as a play. The line climbed too much for me, but a clear lean for me on UNI.
All right, clear lean for UNI on this one. What do you think, Steve, on this one? You in agreement with Ralph?
Yeah, and I mean, the early money definitely was in agreement with Ralph because, as you said, it opened as low as 3.5. It's now 6 across the board. And this is an early tip-off, by the way, folks, 6 o'clock Eastern tonight on Thursday. And it's on the extra games board. It's not on the main rotation. So if you're trying to find it, it's the first one listed on the extra games. And that's, of course, because Vermont is not a normal rotation league. As Ralph said, they've won the conference title the last 5 years, yet they're only picked second this year in their conference. So they are down a notch. Even though they got a really solid player, I think Vermont could be down a notch. And look, it's always a red flag for me when a team loses outright as a home favorite in their first game. They're coming right back just a couple days later because you're thinking, hey, look, they've had 1 day of practice. You're not going to fix their problems. But as Ralph pointed out, there weren't really any problems. They just couldn't shoot the damn ball. So I think the 1 day of shooting in practice might fix the problem. And we talk about turnovers in college and pro football. When a team has a 4 or 5 turnover disadvantage, they get routed. A lot of times that leads to misleading score. Well, the great equalizer in college basketball for the last decade, of course, has been the three-point line. And as Ralph said, they couldn't have been any more ice cold from three-point range. You're not going to shoot all season long as bad as Northern Iowa did in that last game in which they were 3 for 23, 13%. So that is just a fluke. If they even hit 1 or 2 of those shots, if they hit 2 more of those threes, if they go 5 for 23, they win the game, and they go 3 for 23. So, and Nicholls State, by the way, is the best team in that conference, the Southland. So I do think it's a good bounce back spot for Northern Iowa. Yes, we lost a little bit of line value, but that's the way to play it.
All right, there you go. And making a clean sweep here, Dave. How you looking at this?
One of the resources I use is shotquality.com. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's the best, honestly, it's the best content I've ever seen for college basketball. And I'm not affiliated with them in any way, so I'm not making any money on referrals or anything like that. But their content is unique. And one of the things that I use it for is to isolate on phony results. And this first game for Northern Iowa was a real good example. They lost the game 62-58. But according to Shot Quality, they should have won the game 59-54. Now, I'm not going to get into how they break down those numbers, but this is a good example of an aberrational result. And oftentimes, when you see that, you'll be, well, it's just like anything else. You'll get bounces because there's regression to the norm off peculiar results. And that's a big swing. That's a 9-point swing in terms of what the score should have been based on the play of the game and what the score actually was. So to me, that -3 that was out there was a bad number on this game. That was a lot of value on Northern Iowa. I think it's gotten to the point now where it's probably about the right price, but Northern Iowa at -3 was certainly the right side. At where it is now, I'd probably leave it alone, but it would lean to UNI in that game.
All right, leaning towards UNI.
Hey, Joe, I have a question here that I want to ask Steve and Dave. Do you guys put anything into having a game under your belt with Vermont playing their first true Division I opponent versus the team playing one?
Yeah, Ralph,
I don't.
actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's something Dave, you might not, but I actually do think that's an advantage. We see it in the NFL preseason. We talk about it in college football. I like the fact also that Vermont has not played and Northern Iowa is playing their second game. I expect a much better showing. But I mean, Dave, how do you look at that?
I'll tell you why I don't put anything into it. I started charting it years ago. It's straight 50-50. It's of no value whatsoever. Okay.
All right.
I mean,
there you go.
I have lots of theories, and that's why I have to work them out to see if they perform or whether it's just some kind of a myth. And it's a myth. And it was, in fact, last year, if you go back to college football last year, the thought process was, with all the stuff that had gone on prior to the season with COVID, going to be a big advantage for teams with a game under their belt.
Yeah.
Turned out to be completely the opposite.
Yep.
Teams
Joe,
with a game
I'm
under their
just
belt.
jumping in one more time.
Horrible.
Dave,
Go
I
ahead.
have tweeted that out for 3 seasons. A game under the belt in college football is a 46% play against. It's actually a 54-point edge. But
Right.
Vegas adjusts to that so much. I'm not sure
Correct.
there's a line adjustment in college hoops. Completely agree in college football, but I will try to look in my database in college basketball. If there's a team at home for a second straight or if a team's on the road and hasn't played, yes, it's 50-50 overall, but we might find a subset in there that can be beneficial. I'll bring it up on next show if I do find something, and I'll share it with everyone here.
Awesome.
That I
and
would
Joe,
be
real
curious
quick,
about.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and real quick on that, the NFL preseason, it worked for years, as you guys know, and then they started moving the lines 3 or 4 points, and there is a premium there. So I think that's exactly right. But in this situation, you've got the weaker team, Vermont, without any experience against a Northern Iowa team that shot really poorly. So I just think this is a textbook example where it will work. But, the line has gone up 3 points. So there again, maybe that's that premium being factored in that we've all talked about.
Yep. Trying to handicap 18-year-olds sometimes is a challenging thing. All right, guys, we've got, here we go. Game number 2 here tonight we're going to take a look at. How about G-Dub taking on Maryland? 17.5 is what we are looking at here. Total of 137 as an open. I am seeing that has climbed up to 142, 141.5 in that ballpark. And Steve, I'll come to you here. Now, the Colonials, I don't know how they ended up winning that with that second half collapse against St. Francis. But I do know they sent St. Francis to the line, I believe, 33 times. Maryland, not exactly a great free throw shooting team here. So is it advantage G-Dub, or how are you looking at this?
Yeah, it's interesting, Joe. Maryland actually stays at home this Saturday to play Vermont, the team we just talked about. So Vermont's second game will be here in Maryland on Saturday. One angle I like in college basketball is I like home teams that have come off, decent wins. Now, I know they didn't cover, but they kind of put it on autopilot in the second half. They won by 14 as a 23-point favorite against Quinnipiac. GW, though, was in a dogfight, as you said, against St. Francis, winning by just 3. They were not a very good team last year. I remember my alma mater, William & Mary, took them to overtime in an early game last season, and William & Mary was not a very good team last year. So I think it's a good setup for Maryland. I think they'll come with a little more focus, and I think they'll keep their foot on the gas. So the only way I would play it is to lay it in this one. The line did open around 17.5. It's currently up to about 18 in some spots, so we haven't lost too much line value. I can see Maryland maybe playing a little more aggressively from start to finish against a better opponent, at least a perceived better opponent. I'm not sure GW is that good, but they obviously have a bigger name on their jersey than Quinnipiac. So I think it's a good spot for Maryland, 20 or more.
G-Dub, I'll tell you, 15 of 23 from the free throw line is what Maryland was. But G-Dub can play some defense here, Dave. Is this just too many points, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's a few too many points. Not that George Washington's any good. Maryland's clearly the better basketball team, and you can look at it and say, well, they can name the score in this game. But it is somewhat of a neighborhood thing. And I can tell you, George Washington probably looks at this as a much bigger game for them than Maryland does. It's just, okay, let's go out there and do what we got to do for Maryland and get the win. For George Washington, I mean, it's a big game. If they could go in there and compete and pull an upset against Maryland, that'd be huge for them. And I usually will value the underdog a couple of points in situations like that, just because I know they're gonna make a big effort. I prefer them in the first half because you might catch the heavy favorite sleeping. Not a game I'm going to play. I think it's pretty close to the right number, but if I had to take it, I'd say the value here is with GW slightly.
We have seen, Ralph, games like this, big dogs like GW in this spot. They've been pretty profitable, not winning outright, but they've been covering over the first couple of days here. What do you think of this matchup?
Well, you couldn't have two different dynamics. One team in a walkover, and as Steve mentioned, while they didn't cover against Quinnipiac, you had 5 scores in double digits. No one played over 25 minutes. In GW, they struggled. You had a couple guys playing 36 minutes in that game. You know, GW is going to live and die with their 2 new transfer guards, Adams from UConn and Bamasil from Virginia Tech. But I see this as a mismatch on the boards. You know, Maryland is a team that, you know, we talked about on Tuesday's show, how returning starters with Power 5 teams is so irrelevant this year because of the transfers. Well, let's see. You add in Fats Russell to be your point guard, and then the Georgetown transfer, and I'm not going to blow this name because there was a phonetical pronunciation, Kudus Wuhab, the 6'11" center. And you know, it's a situation now that Mark Turgeon, he said, "Oh my God, it was Christmas. We now rebound the ball. I have inside scoring." He said, "I haven't had this in years. It's completely going to change the way we can play." I think it's going to be a mismatch on the boards. I think Maryland does pull away. And, you know, even though they had that easy win and they laid off because you're starting the season, you're going to continue to play your players a little bit more. And the depth, I have no problems with Dave's first half play, but I think in the second half, just too strong on the boards to pull away.
All right, there you go, guys. That is game number 2 here. G-Dub taking on Maryland. One more game. Go ahead, Dave.
You know, I just wanted to point out Ralph did a great job with the transfer his name, and then he pronounced Turgeon.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, Dave, you know on this show, if every name that I pronounce wrong, I have to drink a beer. There's no way in hell I would make it to the college football show right after this.
See, what I've learned to do, and I can get away with this now because of my age, is I don't bother to try and pronounce the name. I just say I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
The head coach of Maryland, right?
Yeah. Yep. We've Ralph and I have given up usually about 2 weeks into the season. We just call him by the first letter. You know, the C guy, whatever the dude's name is, get below. I love
that's
it.
Pretty good. You know, if you call Turgeon Coach T. Sounds like another guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Exactly, Dave.
So Coach K's retiring, right? So there's a coach now allowed to have one letter.
Exactly.
It's going to be Coach T.
Unreal. So funny, guys. All right, let's take a look here. Final game that we'll cover here on the show today. Let's look at Cal Riverside taking on Arizona State. Opens up Arizona State 10.5 total at 141.5. And I'm trying to see if we've got an awful lot of movement here on this game. And not much here, Dave. I'm seeing, what do we got now? 9.5. So it's come down a little bit. And we've got 139 for a total. So both have come down a little. What do you think of Arizona State here?
Well, I want to talk more about Riverside. Because the secret's gotten out on this team. You know, it's not exactly a big-name school. But Riverside, and they've been a bad program for a long time, a really bad program. But they made a lot of progress last year. And this new coach they brought in looks like he's gotten the program straightened out. They're a pretty good fundamental basketball team, and I actually think they're going to make some noise in their conference this year. I would not be shocked if Riverside wins that league this year. And they're not the favorite going in, but they are one of the better teams in that conference. Good first outing. They lost the game, but I think it was closer than the final score indicated. And I can tell you that the betting market, there are a lot of sharp bettors out there in college basketball, especially when you get involved with the mid-majors. And Riverside is very popular right now with a lot of the cappers who specialize in these leagues. They were on him in the first game. They're on him again here, which is why this number is dropping a little bit. And I don't disagree with it. I think Riverside is, at this point, an under-the-radar team nationally. But those of us who follow this conference out here in the Pacific time zone, they're pretty good. Okay, I'm not saying they're good enough to go in and win in Sun Devil country. But I think they're going to give Arizona State a game. And listen, Arizona State was a flop last year. And Bobby Hurley's got to get that team back on the same page. They were a big disappointment last year. That was a team that a lot of people had high expectations for, and their chemistry was a mess all season long. Is it going to be different this time around? I don't know. They played Portland, and they weren't exactly sensational in that first game against Portland. So I think Riverside's got a chance in this game. I didn't play it, and it didn't even make I didn't come out. I played nothing today, so I didn't post it as a free play, which would have been a small selection. But I think it's a game that I would consider the Riverside side if you're going to play the game.
And Ralph, I mean, Arizona State, it was a tough year last year, 11-14, the best player transfers. What do you do here? Bobby Hurley wanted him to be tougher, wanted more rebounding, better defense. They answered the call a little bit here against Portland. What do you think we're going to get tonight from?
Well, again, it was a walkover. A bunch of guys in double figures had an early lead and just rested. Dave mentioned the Riverside coach. I'm needing another sip of beer, so I'll say Mike Magpale. So
it's not a good
Dave,
job.
They could chime in and yell at me, but here's the thing. It's Coach M's second season, and last year and he's a defensive-minded coach, and he's talked about this preseason how his defense could never play as well as he wanted to. San Diego State, their football team and their basketball team's exactly the same. They play great defense and they suck on offense, since Kawhi Leonard. So, it's a team that they were tied. They were down 4 with about 5 minutes to go. Yep. And you're playing an opener on the road against San Diego State. That's going to give you incredible fortitude to move forward. I think they play very slow. I think their defense is very good. And I do like the under here. I think Riverside Arizona State had such an easy go through their first game. They're now going to play a team that slows the tempo. They're not going to be able to run and has some defensive prowess. I do like under 142.5.
Listen, Steve, you see Riverside, certainly all signs are pointing up to a halfway decent season here. What do you think tonight? Do they have enough firepower to go up against Arizona State?
Yeah, Ralph stole my thoughts here about the under. That's the way I'm going to go. It's actually down to 139, guys. It opened 142. It's down to 139. So the sharp money, obviously people playing a total in this game early in the day is probably some sharp money. The sharp money agrees with me and Ralph with the under. I still like it under 139. Something not only does Hurley want to play pressure defense, he forced, by the way, 21 turnovers against Portland, but they did have 19 turnovers themselves. And that'll really hurt scoring. Turnovers are great for under players because it keeps the clock moving and it takes away offensive possessions. So forcing a lot of turnovers and making a lot of turnovers like Arizona State did in the first game helps the under. The other thing that helps the under as well is that both teams did not get to the free throw line much. They were both exactly 7 for 9 in the last game. Arizona State wins by 16. They only have 9 free throws attempts. They give up 11, actually. What about San Diego State? They had 29. UC Riverside had 9. So neither team got to the free throw line much. I think Arizona's going to force turnovers. Arizona State's going to force but also have turnovers. I like the under here. There's a lot of things that set up, so I'm glad to hear Ralph's on the same page there, under 139 in this game.
All right, leaning towards the under there as well. Guys, 24 games in total on card here today. One getting ready to start within the hour here in Air Force as they are in Hawaii. And they are playing in the tournament there. Northern Colorado, Hawaii will end the night as the final game there just before midnight on the East Coast. So not a lot to choose from here, Ralph, but we'll come to you here. Is there a game on this on the card here that you might have circled and liked a little bit more than the others?
Well, Joe and Dave, you guys remember last year I went a great run on using teams that were rated 300 or higher, 10 pounds. So I'm going to go to areas that nobody's gone before, and I'm going to back the Warriors tonight. Ooh. Who the hell is it? Merrimack, guys. I do like Merrimack. They're going into New Jersey Tech, NJIT. This is a Merrimack team, third-year Division I. They went 9-9 last year. They started great. They played the top teams at the end of the year, lost a couple games. The coaches has built the program exactly the right way, making your step-ups. And I love that. In your second-year transition, you're playing those young guys, getting ready for the third year to win. This is a team with all 5 starters back, 3-year starting guards. You look on the flip side, NJIT is missing both guards that were 3-year starters. I mean, that is so much different than losing both guards. When you lose both guards that were 3-year starters, that's leaving a massive hole. So it's complete guard play for me. NJIT does have a game under their belt. It was a lower division game. Merrimack has a game under their belt, a lower division. NJIT does not. I'm going to lay the 3 tonight. They get the win.
If you go to the NJIT website, they don't even have a page about this team. You wouldn't even know they play basketball, Steve Merrill. So I'm with you, Ralph. Let's go to Merrimack. Only one of 5 teams to return 99% of their point production from last year in the country. So I'm with you, Ralph. You keep with those 300s. They keep coming this year. Come on, Steve. Where are you going here tonight on the board?
Yeah, first I want to wish Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans.
Yes.
Former, current, and active. Happy Veterans Day today on Thursday. And we're going to look at a free play here for Thursday night college basketball. Just a quick reminder, started off last year 25-7, 78% the first 2 months of college hoops. Already won this year with Kansas back on Tuesday night, so a nice 1-0 start. NBA college combined, now 17-8 at WagerTalk.com. Get best bets right now, football and basketball, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And a quick promo code, Merrill199, gets you 30 days all access for $199. Football alone is $249. All sports normally $349. So you're getting basketball for free for 30 days and basically football at a $50 discount. Merrill 199. Merrill, MERRIL, 2 R's, 1 L. Merrill 199 gets you 30 days all sports, including that red hot basketball. Let's look at Northern Iowa -6 because it's 6 o'clock Eastern tonight on Thursday. Northern Iowa played poorly, lost outright as a double-digit favorite. That's often is a red flag for me, but not in this case. I think it presents a bounce-back situation as they were just 3 for 23 from three-point range. Can't shoot much worse than that. They shoot better tonight. They were just 30% from the field. They've got a game under their belt now, whereas Vermont has not played yet. They're down a notch this year. They've won that conference 5 straight years, but they're only picked second this year. They're not quite as strong as they've been in years past. I think it's a good bounce-back spot for Northern Iowa, good scheduling spot. It's a fairly cheap number because of that result. Northern Iowa -6 because it's 6 o'clock Eastern Thursday night.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. And Dave, what do you got for us here on the card tonight? Which one are you leaning towards?
It's strictly a lean. I do like Ralph's call on Merrimack. I think that's a good play. I'll talk about very briefly a game that, I'm not playing it, but I did look at it, so I'll use it here. And that's the Cal State Fullerton Titans playing San Jose State. San Jose State really shouldn't have a home court advantage. Okay, it's an awful program. Nobody goes to the games. That's a 0 home court advantage, and yet they always get a couple of points from the odds makers when they're at home. So to me, you get automatic value on Fullerton. Fullerton did play already. They lost to Santa Clara. They didn't play a bad basketball game against a better program. San Jose hasn't played yet. I don't think it's necessarily advantage, but it doesn't hurt. And I think it's decent. Look, it's a game Fullerton should win. Number's not bad at 6. Again, it's not a play for me. It's not even a free play. I didn't bet anything tonight, but it's one that I considered, so I'll use it as the quote-unquote best bet here on the show. Cal State Fullerton -6, and that's it. I'm done.
San Jose, new coach, 5 transfers. They got a whole new team going on there. I love the play.
They're going to suck again.
Yeah, absolutely. Not very good at all. I'm going to pull one out of Ralph's book from last year because he would talk about the Prairie View Panthers on a number of shows last year. I love the Dons. Don't get me wrong, San Francisco, but we've already seen what these big-time spreads here over the first couple of days, how profitable they can be. So I'm taking the top team out of the SWAC. Give me the 18 points here tonight. They ain't going to win, but I think they're going to give the Dons a bit of a scare here tonight. And, guys, just a quick review one more time to let you know. WagerTalk.com right now. You can go get Ralph's best bets. You can go get Steve's best bets. And Dave's got his card up, college football, ready to go. 5% best bet included at WagerTalk.com. Make sure you go grab that now. You've got Ralph taking Merrimack laying 3. Dave's leaning Cal State Fullerton. Steve Merrill likes Northern Iowa, and I'm taking the dog. Give me the Prairie View A&M. Give me Give me the Panthers plus 18, and make sure you guys hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. College Football Daily coming up your way here within the hour, guys. And, of course, the NBA tip-off show a little bit later as well. On behalf of Ralph Michael, Steve Merrill, and Dave Koken, guys, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again soon.
Sign up for the free Wager Talk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text Wager Talk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.